in all of the testing and the 2-year testing, why are there issues with the mobility? Is it because there's been a change in scope around the mobility?
Thank you, Chair. During the risk mitigation activity, the vehicles that were presented to us were in a configuration you would expect probably at a minimum viable capability. The performance of the vehicles under those conditions that we tested them in, they proved to be effective. There was the issues that we are now managing were not pronounced at that time. So they were not an issue at the time on the Hanwha vehicle that we're talking about in regard to this mobility concern. That is raised since we have now gone into our production of the vehicle, the integration of more systems, and with the integration of systems, there is additional stresses on the vehicle that need to be looked at. That's why we conduct through our acquisition approach a validation and verification testing process, a reliability acceptance testing, where we test the full vehicle system being fully integrated with all components. And as you know, this vehicle has different components from different contractors, subcontractors delivering elements to the vehicle. We go through an acceptance testing process where we identify where there could be a problem. And during that process, we've identified the risk associated with a mobility area that requires particular attention and resources that brings it to a very high level of risk, which is at my level, to be treated, and therefore working with industry on treating it. Those issues were not apparent, did not eventuate during the risk mitigation activity on this vehicle.
Why not?
It comes down again to the full integration of the systems, the weight of the vehicle. That weights change as you increase weight to the vehicle. That changes the performance of the vehicle. When you integrate what are the operational requirements for things that we would put on the vehicle for deployment requirements, that would not be present during a risk mitigation activity. Risk mitigation activity, we asked industry to deliver us 3 vehicles basically built from the ground up with components that were mature and proven to be integrated over almost a year period to deliver those. So during that cycle, when we now go through our verification and validation activities, more issues will become present as we use the vehicle more, as we're testing it in other terrains. But during the RMA process itself, those issues were not a factor that caused for this vehicle concern about its suitability from a mobility perspective.
So just because I'm not the expert here, so we test the vehicles, we take them on a strenuous test, we put them through their paces, but we didn't foresee that the future systems that we would need would add extra weight that potentially could impact the mobility. Was there not a foreshadowing of what the requirements were when deciding whether the vehicle is appropriate? I mean, it seems like that's a pretty essential step in procurement of going, well, yeah, this is the base model, but what we'll actually need is to be able to do X, Y, and Z. It's going to cause extra weight. Can the thing handle it in order to make the decision?
Chair, as we go through the process, there is a large technical engineering assessment of the vehicles. We work with our land engineering agency. We work with our Defence Science Technology Group. There is a large amount of technical and engineering assessment as well. We also factor into our assessment what are the integration requirements that will be done for the delivered vehicles compared to the vehicles we use for our RMA processes. And that is also factored into price, understanding about where we might need work done in regard to addressing those issues as well. So it is known, it is looked at, and then definitely during our negotiations with the company, we look at how those issues will be treated and what the minimum viable requirement will be, or minimum viable capability required for the vehicle. So the engineering assessments gives us a level of confidence on the vehicle's ability to withstand the weights required, or to manage the weights required, for example, of the system. Once you've done that integration, though, you are then looking at how the vehicle performs at that standard that you then have created. So this is not unusual when you're looking at integrating systems onto a platform at that next level. I might just see if my colleague Sarah Myers has got any points to add. Sarah was very heavily involved in the risk mitigation activity as it went through its technical assessment.